We've all seen them, right? The guys at the gym who seems to be transforming right before your eyes, packing on muscle week after week. Meanwhile, you're over there pushing yourself, but the reflection in the mirror just isn't changing. It's easy to chalk it up on a bad genetics, but I'm here to tell you that's probably not it. The truth is the vast majority of guys who can't seem to build muscle are hitting the same invisible walls. In this video, I'm going to tear those walls down and show you the simple fixes that will finally unlock your growth. And we are not talking about some secret high-level mistakes only pro bodybuilders make. These are the fundamental errors I see every day. The silent progress killers that are keeping you stuck. We are going to break them down one by one. By the end of this, you will have a clear roadmap. You'll know exactly what's been holding you back and most importantly, how to fix it, starting with your very next workout. Let's get into it. By the way, if we didn't met, my name is Boris Kish. I'm a licensed IFBB fitness coach, nutritionist, and a super heavyweight bodybuilding competitor in the category over 100 kilograms. Welcome to my channel. Reason 1, training smart versus training like a maniac and being obsessed with the numbers. So look, it's extremely important when you go to the gym that you give your all and that you give your best. You know, when you go there, that you're fully focused, that you push as much as you can. But also that doesn't mean that you go, under the weight and move like this. And on the other hand, it also doesn't mean that you have to count everything. The ideal for hypertrophy and mass building size is from 6 to 10 repetitions, that's right. But that also doesn't mean, if you go under the weight, let's say you're doing bench press, and you can feel that you can do 2, 3, even 4 repetitions more, that you're just supposed to, look at that paper and count and say, okay, I did, 6 times, and now it's enough. This session is finished. This exercise is finished. I'm going to jump into something else. And then you're wondering later why you're not progressing. The most important thing is that the goal is to train hard enough, to send the muscles the growth signal. But on the other hand, smart enough to do it for decades. Push your limits, yes, but don't blow past them. And this also doesn't mean that you have to fail on every single set. You understand me? That's, a quick way to get injured and burned out. But as I said, if you feel that you have the reserve to do 1 more rep or 3 more reps, why should you stop at 10 or 8 or 6? The ideal solution would be that you really do your maximum, but that you feel that you have like from 1 to 3, maybe more repetitions that you keep in a reserve. But that doesn't mean, as I said, that you do 6 and that you feel I could do another 3 like this. But that let's say you do 6 and you say, okay, I had a spotter, maybe I would be able to do 2, 3 more, but I'm not 100% sure. But not that for sure, I could do easily maybe 4, 5 more, but 6 is enough for today, and let's go home. And if you're enjoying content like this, please hit that like and subscribe button. My channel is new and that support helps me grow while keeping you supplied with proven, no bullshit information. Reason number 2. You have to eat like a bodybuilder, not a dieter. If you want to get big, you have to eat big. The more investment in your body you put in, as well as in everything in life, the more you will get out, This one kills the progress more than bad training. People simply don't understand that. So you have to eat that goddamn fucking protein. Without that, you won't grow. Doesn't matter if you're on steroid, doesn't matter if you're on growth hormones, doesn't matter what kind of split are you doing, doesn't matter if you're, training like a maniac. If you're not eating that protein, you're not going to grow. And I always said for natural lifters, minimum 2 grams of protein per kilogram. For enhanced, you might even take minimum 3 grams per kilogram. or even more. And that means, for example, I remember in the 90s, I was reading an article about Nasser El Sumbati, who was second in 1997. A lot of people think that he was supposed to win on that year. He even said that one of his key main things why he put so much mass in the 1993, 4, 5 and also after is that he increased the protein dosage. You know, he had a private conversation also with another bodybuilder from Serbia called Milos Sharchev. He, by the way, I also come from Serbia, if we didn't know so far, and you know, he was asking him what is he supposed to change, and the main thing was get that damn protein higher. You want to build muscle, you need protein. Nasser was taking up to 5 grams of protein per kilogram per day. That means that you have to be in the muscle deficit, but it also doesn't mean that you're supposed to stuff yourself with empty calories either. Muscle is built from protein, and without enough of it, you're done before you even started. Number 3, supplements are not optional. They're a must if you're serious. That means if you really want to focus maximum on hypertrophy and maximum that you're the best that you can be, you cannot skip your supplements. Whey protein isolate, glutamine, essential amino acid, BCAA, creatine, and all the other necessary stuff. They are not magic, but if you really want to be the best that you can be, it's really non-negotiable. All these fills that gap that food alone can't. And if you don't care about being the best, that's fine. But then don't complain about the slow progress. I want to tell you a quick story. You know, when I was starting my bodybuilding journey with my first coach, I mean, he was very educated, he had a lot of knowledge, and he was also state champion at his prime. He was a very big heavyweight bodybuilder, above 100 kilograms as well. And you know, usually people were asking him questions in the gym, and he gave them always a straightforward answer. And mostly when you ask him, it's highly likely that you won't get an answer that you like. And I remember once one guy asked him, can you take creatine without dextroses? And in the early 2000s, you know, dextroses with creatine was a must-have. This was absolutely not an option that you even think about, you know, not taking those two together at that time. And, you know, he gave him a straightforward answer as always. He said like, no, you don't have to take dextroses with creatine. And, you know, we were all looking at, you know, at him. Even I was surprised and I looked at him, you know, and he said, you don't even have to take creatine. You don't even have to work out. You know, so that's the point of the story. Always be fully supplemented if you want to grow. And period. Reason number 4. Recovery is a weapon. Most people underestimate recovery, especially after 40s, but I would say much more these, you know, teenagers that are below 20s, even 30s, you know. So this is the new young generation. I mean, you are going to the gym, just think mathematically, 1 hour per day, and that's not every day. The rest of 23, 22 hours is your recovery. That is when you fucking grow. You know, it's as important and as when you train. Stress management, proper programming, all these allow your body to actually use the training and nutrition you're giving it. No recovery, no growth. It's that simple. You cannot go out on the weekends and drink and sniff something and think that you're cool, that you're modern, that you're, you know, about your time, and then expect that you will fucking recover and that you will grow on the next days when you're going to gym. This is going to kill the whole progress. You cannot have this and that. You know, I fully understand that, you know, somebody has to have a private life and do stuff, you know, beside the gym. I'm not telling you that you have to function like that, you know, but you cannot have this unhealthy lifestyle with shitty recovery, you know, that before you go to bed, you take your cell phone and then you know, and you're expecting that you recover, you know. If your sleep is not in order, if your rest is not in order, you're simply not going to grow. Tell me what's your go-to strategy to avoid these traps. Share it in the comments so other lifters can learn from your experience. Reason number 5, bad genetics bullshit, I don't have good genetics, my father didn't have calves. No, I cannot develop big shoulders, nobody had that in my family. This is fucking bullshit. You maybe cannot be Mr. Olympia material. That I fully understand. You cannot be somebody who is going to be an IFBB pro. I don't have genetics to be an IFBB pro. Okay, these days they're giving IFBB cards like candy after every competition without me disrespecting anybody who got it recently. But when I started doing bodybuilding 20 years ago and more, being an IFBB pro was something, today everybody has it, but that's not the topic. You can get damn huge, muscled and ripped, doesn't matter what kind of genetics you have. You don't have to be a perfect mesomorph. I'm a combination from ectomorph and endomorph. I'm the blend of those two together. If I was able to build something and go on the stage and win medals with my 193 centimeters of height, with small shoulders, with not such a small waist, so will you. Just get that shit out of your head. Or drop excuses like bad genetics and stop jumping programs when the results are not instant. Key is long-term constancy. Give your plan time to work, and I guarantee you will get there. There is no genetical disadvantage that you might think that you have that you cannot overcome. Therefore, you can grow at any age, but only if you train smart, fuel properly, supplement wisely, and recover like a pro. The guy who ignores this will keep spinning their wheels year after year after year. The ones who apply it, they will be the 3% still improving even if they're 40s, 50s, 60s and beyond. And if you're not sure how long you can keep bodybuilding and building muscle, click this video where I'll explain you how you can actually do it for life. Now go get after it.